Hello, this is David Henry Young. I want to give another little short story about falling into the hands of God. The Bible says in Hebrews 10:31, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. So it's 1980. I'm working for Agway Incorporated in Bordentown, New Jersey, at the largest feed mill that they operated. They operated 26 feed mills in 11 northeastern states. And, they were a pretty big player nationally as far as making animal feed. They had 400 to 500 stores, and I didn't grow up a farmer, so this is, the whole ambiance of the job was radically different than what I was growing up to be. So anyway, we had to fumigate the mill, and it was the first time that I was fumigating. I was the leader of the team. It's in the state of New Jersey, which is a very highly regulated state back then, and maybe even more today. It's quite known for that. And so we fumigated the mill. It was on a weekend. We were using a product called Dawson 37. We all wore gas masks. There was 5 of us. And I was titularly the team leader because that was my job. I had just been hired by this company. I had 1 year experience in a feed mill in Massachusetts, and that was just a real small operation. This was the complete opposite. It was enormous. Anyway, as it turns out, the canisters to filter out the poisonous gas, in this case it was ethylene dibromide and some methyl bromide mix. I believe that was the mix. The commercial name of the product was Dawson 37. Now, in the ensuing time leading up to this time in the hot summer of 1980, I had met people in the particular business of selling fumigants and things like that, and made friendships. Well, apparently the poisonous fumigant got into my lungs. I later found out that the filters that were using, the canisters in the gas mask, were defective, and that's another story. But the bottom line is, I get real sick, and I had a real definite sense that I had inhaled this product because I could smell something, and went out to the fresh air real quick, and when I got home, I started tearing my hair out and running around the house barking like a dog. I had asked a good friend of mine in the pesticide business. Now, I'm in feed milling. We make animal feed, from New York City Zoo for the giraffes to pigs, chickens, horses, cows, you name it. We made it. We're the big player east of the Mississippi. And he said, well, if you did in fact get some of it into your system, about 12 to 18 hours later, you will start running around the house, pulling your hair out, and you might be barking like a dog. You can't make this stuff up. Reality is wonderful. So I had to go to the hospital. I called my best friend in the local church they were in, and he brought me to the hospital. He was praying for me on the way, and I'm thinking I'm going to die. I was aware that I was basically out of my mind. And when they brought, it was a weekend. It was a summer weekend, and St. Francis Hospital in downtown Trenton, a Catholic hospital, Franciscan nuns were involved heavily in the operation. And we go into the emergency room, and it's like 1980. Okay, this is America, 1980. First thing that any doctor says, what are you taking? What kind of drugs did you just take? And I can't talk, so Joel Davis has to say, look, this fella is a Christian. He doesn't do drugs. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. quality control and drug supervisor at the biggest feed mill that you guys know about in bordering Bordentown. Now he's had an ingestion of Dawson 37. The guy didn't know what he was talking about. And he went on this is I got this backstory, and they finally got through to him. Look, it's a fumigant poisoning. It's not drugs. And it took a while. I remember that there was people everywhere. Come to find out, it was very crowded in the emergency room. They finally put me in a room, in a semi-private room, and just gave me, IVs for about 24 to 36 hours. And in the next day, when, as it turns out, I would eventually be released from the hospital in about 8 or 9 hours from this point. And I've been resting and just getting these fluids and basically washing out my system. And I was on the bedpan at one point, and I felt something leave my body that was really bad. Okay, we're fearfully and wonderfully made, and I know what I'm talking about. And I even saw something involved with the bedpan when they took it away. It kind of went off with it. And it was probably a demon, some kind of a illness that you could get by being ingested with a poison. So, and I'm all taking this in, and I find out later that the church was praying for me, interceding for me, and I'm just laying there, and I'm quietly taking all in, about my own stupidity of just stopping my involvement in the fumigation of the feed mill that weekend, because I could taste and smell something in my mask. I kept on going out. I'm very new. I just got hired. They gave me this job, and the guys that used to do this all the time, took me along on this first fumigation, and I come to find out that the after the use, the one use of the filter for the gas mask, they would put them back up on the shelf and reuse them. Now that's another story. You don't do that, but what do I know? I didn't know this, and yet I'm the titular head of the group. New job. I got the job, walked in off the street, and I had worked in a small feed mill for a year, and I picked up a lot of experience and information that I honestly didn't fully understand. I just did what I was told to do, and So I'm in the bed. I know I'm going to be probably released in 5 or 6 hours at this point, and it was very quiet. It might have been a Sunday night, maybe be released in the morning, and it was very quiet in the hospital floor. And it's a Catholic hospital, I grew up Catholic, and a nun walks in. Now I'm like 32 years old, and I've had experiences in life about life and death and all that. But look, all that's in my past. That go to church, everything's wonderful, and do your job and so forth. She comes in and she's just, I don't know who she is, but she's a Franciscan nun. She's much older than me. And she walks over to my bed and walks up the side of my bed and gets like eyeball to eyeball, real close, real intimate. And she looks at me and she says, "It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God." And I went, "Oh, okay." And she said it again. "It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God." And she pivots and turns, does a nice about face, walks out of the room, and that's it. And it was around, like a few moments later is when I saw it. I had been on a bedpan when she walked in. And then, somebody came in. This is all, it was like a play. She leaves, and then a moment later, somebody comes in, a nurse's assistant or maybe a nurse, and takes the bedpan, and I saw something black going along in the air with the bedpan, and I knew that something had left my body when I released my, defecated and urinated and all that. And as it turns out, I found out the physiology of being having an attack of bromides into your body that you're not supposed to have, and usually they go out through the urine. So I knew a lot about it, nursing, because I had been a nurse's assistant for 5 years in 2 different situations. So what I'm saying is just keep going forward. But you got to know, if you know you belong to Jesus Christ, and you may not spend time in the Word a great deal, like me at that time, actually a lot, but it's a big book. I've been looking at it ever since. I'm 75 now. Deeply. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. He judges his people. Before he's going to do judgments on the earth, he's going to judge his people first. And it's severe, it's real. It does involve real fear, but it's not the fear of that you don't know what's happening. You don't know that we know that there's a living God if you believe in him, if you're his. So get to be his. Get to be his. It's 2023. The Lord is returning. I believe in my lifetime. I sort of don't believe it's going to be tonight. I sort of hope not. There's a lot of people I know that need to know more about him to believe in him and come into his kingdom. But, give your life to Jesus Christ, no matter who you are, what your situation. He's looking for you. Give your life to him. Okay. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.